So it's me, Julian Jenkins, with Sharon Ramel. I've been on Udemy now for coming up to 12 months, and I came across this wonderful lady called Sharon Ramel, and we started discussing and said, why shouldn't we do a course together? Sharon's absolutely amazing on the shamanism and shamanic side, and I don't do too bad with the psychic mediumship either. So we thought we could blend it together, and what a great way through the magic of the moon. And of course, we're in the phase now where we've got a new moon.
Yeah, and hello from me. I'm Sharon Ramel. I pioneered teaching shamanism not only online with Udemy, but globally in small video format. So I had to reinvent the wheel every time I started, and I've absolutely loved the journey. I've been teaching online since I first published in April of 2014, and I'm absolutely delighted and honored to be here in this collaboration with Julian, because I think our gifts come together quite beautifully to give you something truly unique. You won't find the course anywhere like this, not only on Udemy, but globally. And I challenge you to go and find it if you can, because it simply doesn't exist. So thank you, Julian.
No, it's a pleasure, Sharon. Thank you as well. I like the way in which, everything seems to blend, and watching the course back, it was really good how the energies blend, but also the information and how the story and the journey just came together with the both, sort of sides of spiritualism and spirituality. And I was sort of focusing on the mediumistic side and all the different things you do through the sort of 8 phases. But importantly as well, you come in with all of the shamanic side, which really gives it that much more additional depth as well.
Yeah, I think we've really drawn the best out in each other as far as that depth goes, because people just don't want to scratch the surface anymore. I think they want genuine, deep, thorough information, and they can kind of take this course however they like, because they could actually break it up into chunks and go, look, I'm just a Julian fan, I'm just going to stick with the mediumship side of it because that's what I want. Or conversely, they could actually split it and go with my side of it if that's what their choice is. But if they truly want a deep experience, then we have gifted it to them. And I would like to say to anybody, no matter when you purchase this course, so if you're coming up to the full moon, do the introduction, jump straight into the full moon. Don't be afraid, just start it, but do start it on the phase that we're actually in, because everything we do is so aligned to the energies of this particular phase that you might feel a little bit of a disconnect if you are watching your full moon stuff and it's the dark moon, for example, because the energy, your energy, doesn't blend. And we want you to get the absolute best out of our humble course offering.
I agree with you. And I think it's interesting you say that, because it is a very dynamic course, but the way in which you do the course as well will be dynamic in terms of being able to harness those energies. And we speak at the moment as is, and it is the new moon. So if people are watching this video now, is that looking at how they open and their visioning work and setting intentions and releasing fears and leaning into the faith and all of these bits and pieces, and looking how they can use crystals such as obsidian or clear quartz and some of the meditations as well. So you are right. The great thing about this course is no matter when you start the course, you can actually come in at the right time.
Absolutely. But given that we are right here at this dark new moon phase, I'd like to actually ask people to come and join me right now at Heart Center. So first, bring your hands out, greet each other, bring your brows in. We greet each other in the ancient way. Star brothers and sisters to star brothers and sisters, and then bring that back into your heart center and rest just for a brief moment, breathing in your own time, gently in and out. One more, breathing in. And on this third breath, breathe it in, receiving it. There is a feeling deep inside of you, a joyful feeling that is deeply connected with this phase, this new phase. And we're going to bring this out so that we can manifest And we'll do that by expanding the seer within. So take your hands from your heart center, drawing them up to your third eye in prayer position, touching your third eye, closing your eyes, looking deep inside. As you receive your breath, just allow it to flow in and out. Here at brow center. And on your next inhalation, draw your hands up and over to the back, to your visual cortex. If you need to separate your hands because you're not so flexible, that's fine. You can just go fingertip to fingertip. You don't have to maintain Anjali Mudra. But if you can do, connecting with your visual cortex as you receive your breath, inhaling, exhaling. And now open your hands, sweeping them down, fingertips now drawing them down over your shoulders, and come back to heart center. And see, look inside. Is there something that wants to be manifested? We're not going to rest here very long in this because we're here to try to explore with you the dimension, the breadth, and the depth of this course. But this is a really simple, gentle exercise that you can do. It's a great manifestation tool. And when you are ready, open your eyes. And this is a little gift from me to you at this time to help you set an intention for this amazing new moon phase. Fun, isn't it?
Lovely. Very nice indeed. Yeah, it was really nice. And I think the thing as well, when people think about manifestation, it can be the slightest of things as well. Because I talk through the mediumship things about subtle bits, and a lot of when people think about manifestation, they think of money and cars and all of these sort of things, and it's like 6 numbers for the lottery or whatever. But some of that manifestation can just be like being able to appreciate and understand and feel the more subtle energies that come through us as well. And when I speak within the course, working on the psychic mediumship and the awakening of the connection with spirit, I think some people, I'm going to harness into the moon. And I just did a video recently and popped it into the course is be patient and be thankful. Because there's not going to be you're not going to take this course on this big crashing white light and all of a sudden you're going to be floating through the air.
Hallelujah.
Well, you may, I don't know, everyone's different, but ultimately it's going to be working with the structures and understanding the phases and having the best chance to harness this amazing energy. Because I talk a lot about connecting with yourself and having a relationship with yourself, and connecting with spirit and having a relationship with spirit, but importantly as well connecting with the moon and having the relationship with the moon, for me, underpins and amplifies and brings all of that together. And if you put that shamanic mix in and the mediumship mix in together and do this with it, I think you've got a real cacophony, if that's a great word for this time of day, cacophony of spiritual awareness and a journey that I think can really help. And as you rightly say, you can pick that bit up, or you not have to pick that bit up, or you can do it with it. But the important thing is you do it all within that moon phase, which is just amazing.
Absolutely, because that's one of the great things. We're so dependent now on Mr. Google, on Facebook, on all of these distractions, that too often we allow those distractions to completely divorce us from what is genuinely important. And it's those tendrils, those connections that we are here to try to help everybody to reseed, to go into, because everywhere we look, there's chaos on the planet, there's chaos within us. And what people don't realize that at a very fundamental level, the chaos on the planet is simply a reflection of what is going inside us. So what I believe you and I are genuinely about is helping people come back to that core truth, that core knowing People are depressed, they're manic, they're crazy, they're upset. Even when they're making frightening amounts of money, they're still not happy. And I believe it's because we've lost this essential connection to what's genuinely important: the moon, the stars, the planet, the trees, each other, that global community of love. And be that within a family unit, a greater family unit, your community where you live in the town, the bigger city. We've lost our sense of community. And our job as here on Udemy and elsewhere is to help people draw back and to know that the goodness is within them. And when we start reflecting out the pure love, raising our vibrations, and when we do it together, it is so powerful. And we can be the change we wish to see. I read something recently, it only needs 3% of the population to be manifesting at one time, and a tipping point happens. And I think this is what the environmentalists and people are about too. They're just trying to build up a groundswell of love for the earth, for all that's important. And we are part of that groundswell to usher in a new era of love, of light, and we will see ourselves through the chaos with ease, because we have the gifts to be able to ride whatever storms are thrown up out there in the bigger world picture that we are seeing manifesting at the moment. So therefore, things like Brexit, Trump, Morrison, any other dingbat prime minister or leader that you wish to think about. I apologise if I have upset anybody who loves those leaders, but, you know, we don't need to worry about what they are doing, because we are doing what we are doing on our level and seeding love out. And that's what's important to me, is that we are the big picture. They're just an irritation, like a bit of a mosquito buzzing in the background. That's how I like to see them. They're more famous than us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the things, we talk about in the course, and I talk about is that reconnection with yourself, with spirit, with the moon, and with nature. And one of the meditations we do within that is the grounding meditation. It's about coming back to yourself and just really sort of firmly planting your feet on the ground. Because I'm the same as you, and I lived in the corporate world for many, many years and run £50 million businesses. And you strive and you put yourself into this situation where I remember coming back on a flight and I had a nosebleed because of the stress levels. My nose was bleeding, and I was like, for me, that was a big wake up call to say, I'm really putting myself in a position where I might end up, having ill health to buy things I don't even need. that was all it was all about. I was putting myself under innate amounts of pressure to buy things I didn't even need. And yes, okay, we gotta have basics and all the rest of it, and money is, there's all of that. But for me, being able to come back to yourself, and again, the way in which you deliver the course and what I talk about, and coupled with the moon, and be able to come back to yourself. And I think, mindfulness is something I talk about quite a bit, is having your breath as an anchor and coming off autopilot. And I've mentioned, there's a lot of my mentors around the world, and John Kabat-Zinn talks very clearly and very succinctly when he says, when somebody asks me what the time is, I say it's now. And
yes.
and that's what it is. And it's about, yes, it's now. And that's, I love all of those things. And I think it's so important for us to try and come back and work with ourselves, because I get asked lots of questions every day. I had one today saying, I want to do this and I should be doing that, and I don't know what to, I've asked spirit, and then it says, where do I go? And I said, just listen to yourself, just come back inside and just try and strip the emotion out of it. Try and, I say muggle mind because I like Harry Potter. It's getting our conscious mind to one side and being able to sit in that. Just sit in that energy and just listen to yourself, just be. And because we are human beings and we've just turned into human doers, and we need to start becoming human beings again, and not just and come off autopilot. How many times do we go to work today and drive in our car or wherever we're going, and you can't even remember a traffic light, or you can't even remember how you got from point A to point B, because you're not there. You're somewhere else. And this course is great for bringing people back to this, and being and having that inner connection themselves, being able to then connect and have the spiritual aspects through the mediumship and shamanic, but also then amplifying that through the moon. And for me, just watching it back, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And it's 5.5 hours of the content. It was crazy when we put it all together, all the jigsaw pieces. I was like, oh, this is a really long course. It's 5.5 hours. And we're going to be adding things, further down the line. But, for people coming in, and I don't want people to feel as if they're overwhelmed, because there is so much there. Take bits you want, play with it, come back to it. There's not an invented here mentality or a one size fits all policy. This is where people can come and take it and play with it and work with it, which is fantastic, really.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. When we were doing it, and I too, I was looking back at it yesterday as I was fixing the closed captions, going, oh wow, and because it is a 5.5 hours, and we've been working at this for quite a few months now, some of it I'd even forgotten about, and I'm watching it back, going, wow, I really like that. I should remember that, because what people really don't realize is that we are very, very real people. We're not these, pretending to be anything we're not. We go to the toilet, we need to drink our water, we need this, we have the same basic needs as absolutely everybody else. We're not up on a pedestal. We are just star brothers and sisters with everybody else out there on the planet making our way. But we like to bring our unique gifts to help people, and so that does set us apart, because we put our hearts out there for people to look at. But it's just such a blessing to be able to work in a collaborative way, and then to sit back, because there's all of the as we put things together, but then you step back from it and you go, wow, look at this. Look at what we have very intuitively birthed. Because what people don't realize is that we didn't sit down for hours and hours and map and script everything out, and you're doing that bit, and you're doing this, and I'm doing this, and there was none of that. So my beautiful friends out there, this is literally something that came out from us, from the depth of our being, with the help of all of our spirit guides, and of course ultimately and intimately guided by the moon. So it happened, it unfolded in grace and ease, and that's what I really love about this, is just the pure intuitiveness of it. And as I said, we jigsawed it and went, this belongs, this goes with that. We used to have an ad here called "This goes with that, goes with this, goes with that," and it does. And like you, I also did the corporate world thing. I used to be very proud of the fact that dress shops would call me up and go, ooh, I've got a dress that will suit you. Should I put it in a cab and send it to you, or should I keep the store open for you? I thought that I'd made it. And I look back and I think, how ridiculous, those poor people, that I even imagined that was a good thing. It's utter rubbish. It's far more important to be with the ocean, the moon, the tides, and with each other.
I agree. And what makes the collaboration even more impressive, and I did Google this, is from where I live to where you live, within a couple of meters, is 9,122 miles. Which is some distance. There's a times 1.6 kilometers. So, I don't know how many kilometers that is. It's probably about 12,000 kilometers. It's and it just all seemed to come together. And, it's just the way it worked. And I really enjoyed it. And as I say, one of the things that happens to me quite a bit, because and specifically the meditations, I start off and then I'll get channeled in somewhere and I'll end up doing something and I can never remember. And then I always get a question back then on Udemy or whatever, saying, thank you for this. I have to go back and watch my courses, because I can't
Yes.
remember it, and it's not because of whatever, because
Yeah.
I'm just there, I'm in the flow, I'm going, I don't know when it's coming, here and here and here, I'm giving, and then somebody said something, and somebody said the other day about a specific meditation, and they said, can you remember which course this meditation's on? And I was like, oh wow, there's 15 or 14 of them, 13 of them. I can't. I think it's the definitive guide to mediumship, and and I think I think I was right. I think I was right. She didn't come back and say I wasn't right, so maybe I was. But it is about when you put it all together and coming back and reflecting on it and seeing it all, it's great. And the good thing about it as well is that even in these early stages, the responses and reviews and the support from everybody, which I'm always blown away, humbled, and hugely thankful for everybody who helps us. And for me, the part that really sort of lights my bulbs, if you like, is that people want us to share with their spiritual journey, and that's quite a private and personal thing that we can. I always feel really amazed that people. I'm playing my part within their spiritual journey, and that's amazing. And every morning we wake up and we get emails saying thank you for this and thank you for that. I can't believe this and I can't believe that. And it's just amazing, and as I always say, I'm trying to help people to help themselves, because I think the key thing to a real a teacher, I like coach, I don't know what the right word is, but I'm here for people. Yeah, to unlock really, because I think if we just give information, it's just giving information. It's a teacher, what we want to do is impart some wisdom and knowledge and experience and the feelings that we've had over many years of working within our own specific spiritual verticals, if that's the right word to use. But no, it's been amazing, and I thank you for asking and being part of it.
Experience, I think that's one of the key things with this course for all of you out there, is this, we don't just sit and talk at you. Well, you all know, those of you who have been on my courses for a long time know that I like to draw everybody deeply in and feel and experience and really search deep inside and go places that you may never have imagined yourself going, because that is a wonderful, wonderful way to open up and to expand your possibilities. Because we were talking about manifestation earlier, and you're right, so many people, can I have the numbers to the lottery? I want to, all of this. But at the end of the day, the only important thing is love, that you love and that you are loved. And that doesn't even have to be on a person to person. That can be with the environment, with the moon, because some people, after all, do choose to have a very solo life because they live very isolated. And so they might be going, particularly here in Australia, that's a real thing here, being isolated. So for those people, don't say that when we're talking about, think that we're talking about genuine, might not be talking about human to human relationships. We can simply have a great relationship with the trees. They're wonderful to chat to. They sit down and have a really good, deep and meaningful conversation to. It's just that when they talk to us, they talk in a different way, and they're slower. They're far slower. But if you sit with a tree long enough, it will start talking with you. And it's all of these things that the moon teaches us, is that essential drawing back in to look at our bigger picture and to form relationships once more with the earth, with the flowers in the garden. We have all of these little violets that just came up in our lawn. And most people would go, oh my gosh, they're ruining your lawn. Pluck, 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 pull them out or mow them down. We've left them, and every morning their little faces are shining at us, speaking to us, giving us so much joy. So isn't that much better than a manicured lawn having thousands of little violas smiling at you? It's these little things that become so important, and they enrich our lives. And this is what we are hoping you all genuinely fall into. And I mean fall into. Just let yourselves pour into it. Open your hearts and just allow yourself to sway to move, because we hold ourselves so tightly in our society which is why Julian and I are always batting on about your breath, breathing. Because if you notice, so many of us simply don't know how to breathe. We do this shallow upper chesty stuff that comes from deep in our bellies. And it fills us with joy. So connect all the dots, and you will find so much joy. And you won't even know where it's come from, but it's come from within. Because you've taken that step, you've flicked your finger, the switch has gone on. And you'll find your life just changes in the most magical, amazing way. I do share a couple of spells with you as well, but don't take them out of context, by the way. Use them. All right? I want to banish my mother-in-law.
How do you know that? You must be psychic. I thought I was the psychic one. Huh?
You are.
That wasn't what I wanted. No, it is, you are true. And I think the great thing about it as well is when we become knowledgeable of the moon's energies and activating, the outward power, it's also about activating the inward power as well, and harnessing those energies with your life, that so that we can. What happens sometimes is when I'm teaching as well is that I do on the mindfulness course a body scan where people reflect inwards and they connect with parts of their body where they've pushed some of their repressed energies or their repressed emotions, because we store them all over our body, and then when we connect back in, we open it all back up. And I think, again, being able to do, and there's a meditation within here, which is a mindfulness, or the breath, and just being with the breath, and when we do that, and then we do that in the correct phase of the moon, everything just takes on, it's just being amplified. And I think that's the great thing about it. We've done all of it, for years, and, a lot of people would have done their own spiritual, practices and structures and all of those things. And that's great, and we're here to help to give new ideas and different ways of thinking of things. But if you can get, it's like having a car that's running, and then all of a sudden you put a turbo into it, the car's going to run much faster and more efficient. And that's what we're talking about here. On the shamanic side and the psychic mediumship side, we've all got our courses, we're all running here. But when we do this and then link that into the moon, I think it's a bit of a game changer, and people understanding, waxing means that's the illumination of the moon. It's glowing, and all of the waning, and then it's funny because when we were doing the course, and I was going back over my mind, some of the things, like people say, "Oh, you're waning now," and it's all to do with the moon, and the word lunatic. Comes from the moon, because the lunar cycles in the full moon, people used to go a bit crazy, and and that's where the saying lunatic comes from. So for hundreds of years and thousands of years, the moon's played such a big part. But you're right, because now we just want to draw our curtains, and we should open the curtains and actually celebrate it and drink it in. And then if we can put on top of that our shamanic and our psychic mediumship structures and practices and all of these things, we've got one amazing cocktail.
You're so right about that. People wanting to shut it out, draw the curtains down, open. let the moon, let the star brothers and sisters help you. Don't lock them out of your lives. And even if you don't want to do it in your bedroom, leave the rest of the house open so that their energy is actually, more potent. I mean, it can come through the blinds, of course, but when you open them, you're also opening your life.
Yeah, and I think I
believe.
Yeah, open your heart, open everything, and again, that's
open
great.
Everything.
Yeah, and I talk about as well in the course about grounding and protection, to make sure that we don't open ourselves too much, because unfortunately in this world there are some people whose energies may not be they may not
consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they may be different to ours, but
Yes.
so it's, when you open that up and being able to do all of that and all those things, it's just amazing. And I think one of the reasons we've done a pre-record, if we're going to say at the beginning, is that it shows the different parts of the world. I'm in the UK, in South Wales, in Cardiff, and I've got very fast fiber broadband. And the wonderful thing about where you live is you struggle some with internet, so we've pre-recorded it, and some of the screens but I think that, for me, in a nutshell, is the relationship in the course. This is real, it's authentic,
Yes.
it's warts and all. That's what this is. And yes, sometimes my face may be brighter or like that, or the screen, and we get all of that, and we try and edit some of it, but the reality of the situation is, what we want it to be is authentic and real. And the word I like to use with these things as well, it's intimate. It's us and you,
Yes.
and that person who's ever watching it. And going back to John Kabat-Zinn quickly before we wrap up, but I remember when my dad passed away, and I had a really bad panic attack, and I'd never had one before in my life, and this rush in my chest, and it was horrendous. And this was 12 years ago now, and it was a game changer for me spiritually. And I went to see a psychologist because I had to go and see one, because I was like, this is really too much. And she talked to me about John Kabat-Zinn, and I can remember laying in bed, which isn't a good sign, because that's when you don't want to get out of bed. That's the start of things going wrong. And I was laying in bed, and I was watching one of his talks on YouTube, I think it was. And after about 5 minutes, I actually thought in the room was just John Kabat-Zinn and myself, because of the way he spoke to me, and the way he was so authentic, and he was so intimate, and everything he was saying was just absolutely resonating and vibrating on such a level that everything else around me didn't exist. I was just like in there. And I watched some of the stuff that you've done and I did back, and I had those moments again. I just thought, this just feels so authentic. The vibration, the energy, the experience, everything just seemed like that moment laying in bed. And I thought, I hope that comes across to the people who are watching the courses and studying this part of it. And thank the Lord already, a lot of the reviews that come in, they've all been 5 stars, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes, the beauty within, the shining without. If it's not in us, we can't actually do these courses. And I guess that's another big thing. We can't fake what we do.
No.
They might be able to do that up at the big end in tech world, read a book and put a course out and sell like hotcakes. But Julian and I can't fake what we gift you. It's just not possible. You would just have this empty train wreck babbling on, and it wouldn't make sense to anybody. So our hearts have poured into this, and it is our heart and love offering from Julian and I to all of you. Go, Moon, go. And if you're watching this in a couple of days' time, you've missed out on the best price that we can give you. But if you are watching this before the 30th of October, if you put in capital letters, Go, Moon, Go, you will get this course for the lowest price that we are able to offer you. So I encourage you all to go, Moon, go. And I humbly thank Julian for coming to the table and playing with me in the sandpit, as I like to call Udemy, because we've manifested something from our hearts to gift to you all.
And I echo every single one of those words. Thank you, Sharon. And what I would say with all of these things is, and watching it back, is just let it all wash over you, and just bathe in the course, and just let everything just wash over you with no expectation, and just let it all flow. Because once we do that, and we take away the self-doubt and the expectation and all of these things, and just let this course just wash over you, I'm pretty sure by the end of the journey, whichever part you pick up and put down, whenever you do it, I'm pretty sure you'll feel a little bit closer to that spiritual journey, a little bit more relaxed, and hopefully be a human being, not just a human doer.
Yes. not doing. Yes.
Exactly. Thanks very much, Sharon. I think we pre-recorded this and we'll pop it out onto our social platforms. But it has been a pleasure. And if anyone's got any questions, please, whichever platform you're watching on, pop it in below. As Sharon said, please take advantage of the amazing offer as well. And who knows, we might even pop a meditation in after this in the edit somewhere along the line to give you a bit of a bonus bit of fun as well. So thank you very much for watching. And from myself, so humble and grateful for everything that happens. Thank you.
And thank you. And everybody out there, bye.
Bye. Thank you.